Okay, we're back at the Try You channel where we don't give a shit what you've had for dinner yesterday, today, last month. What we want to talk about here is books, movies, and music. Go to www.tryu.com. Fill out your top 10 list in each category. Connect with other users. We promise you'll find some great movies, books, and music that you didn't know exist, and you'll discover new stuff daily if you get on there. What I want to talk about today is the top 10 list of movies. We're going to go through our top 10, and I got it pulled up here on Try You so we can look for reference. And it's going to be my number 10 movie was In Bruges, and that's directed by Mark McDonough. It's got a really stellar cast: Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, Ralph Fiennes, among others. What I really, I told you several times now, I just lucked into this movie. My cousin, who was my roommate at the time, when this movie was out, I'm thinking it's close to 15 years ago, we just walking by a theater on High State's campus and saw this movie poster and just decided to do it on a weekday afternoon. And I'll never forget, because I made an asshole of myself. I went in to get the ticket, and I'd never heard of this movie or heard anybody say it, so I was like, one for In Bruges and Bruges, and the guy, gave this wry smile and said, "You mean In Bruges?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess that's what I mean, that's what I meant." And the movie, going into a movie like that when you have you just don't know what you're getting, and then it turns out to be so good, I think enhances the experience, is probably one of the reasons I included it in my top 10.
I think that's a pretty low Metacritic score.
67 for that. Yeah,
I really thought that was a solid movie.
On me, it'd be 95.
Yeah,
yeah. But a lot of them, some of the mixed reviews in my top 10, and personally, it doesn't agree. Like Fear and Loathing, I don't think has a terribly high Metacritic score, and that, to me, that's a perfect film for adaptation of that book.
Oh, that movie freaked me out. I was tripping when I watched it. But yeah.
And I'll go get back to this one quickly. When we were in the theater, Colin Farrell's character is kind of in opposition with Brendan Gleeson, who's a more sophisticated and kind of the straight man, I guess, if you will. And he really likes Bruges and the sightseeing and the history, and he's wondering why Colin Farrell's not getting into it, and he's trying to get him into it. And Colin Farrell basically says, "Well, yeah, I would like it if I grew up on a farm and I was retarded." And I said, "Seth," and I laugh, and nobody else in the theater laughed. About 10, 15 people in. So I thought, well, that's supposed to be funny, but maybe not everybody liked it. I mean, he's pretty politically incorrect, but it adds to his character, and he is redeeming. I won't give anything away for people that haven't seen it, but it's just a great movie. The dialogue, I remember thinking, was almost Tarantino-esque. It was shot wonderfully. Again, the director, Martin McDonough. I could have put Seven Psychopaths, one of his other ones, or Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri in my top 10.
I had Three Billboards in mine at one point.
Good. So good. Yeah, so I'll just leave it there, and we can go to your 10 list. Let me pull you up. But you can start talking. I know you know what your 10th is.
So my 10th, I went with Natural Born Killers, which is a 1994 movie. Would have been my junior year of high school. It was real popular among high school, at least the people I hung out with that year when it came out. Story by Quentin Tarantino, directed by Oliver Stone. And I know we've mentioned this before, but on Try You, the way you and I are doing our top 10s is we're doing one film per director.
Yeah, that's why.
That's just how we're doing it. But we're doing our albums the same way, and books.
Books do, yeah.
Which is really, it makes it a little more difficult, because even if you've got 3 or 4 Scorsese films you'd like to put in your top 10, it expands your horizons, so then you'll share and discover more users that way. The soundtrack for Natural Born Killers is great. It has some Jane's Addiction and Nine Inch Nails and a lot of really good 90s alternative music. The cast is great. Woody Harrelson, Juliette Lewis, Robert Downey Jr., Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, that's great.
Awesome. And Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh, yeah, it's cameo. I'm going to interrupt
you. You stupid bitch.
Fucker is still working.
You stupid bitch. Yeah.
That's
It's a good action movie and a real good
It seems good.
reflection on the media, on how shitty the media is.
Yeah, it was a good commentary. You know, I've told you before my experience with the movie. It started off almost in the theater because I was 17 years old when it came out, and they were making a big deal that you had to be 17 to get into it. And I wasn't huge into smoking weed, but we got really high that night, and one of our buddies that didn't do anything was driving us around. I was so stoned, I thought the cop pulled us over just when we stopped at a stop sign. I mean, I swear, flashing lights and everything, and I freaked out. Like, he can tell from the cop car behind us that he knows I'm stoned and I'm going to jail. And that was right before we got to the theater. And again, Seth was one of the people with me, and he was 15. So they didn't ask for ID. You just walked up to the ticket booth. They asked you how old you were, and Seth kind of says, 16. And he was 15. He did lie, but he didn't lie high enough, so we weren't able to go to the movie. And he just kind of laughs. He was laughing about it, like, oh shit, man.
Did you guys end up seeing something else, or just leaving?
We left.
Okay.
We left. That's all I really remember about the night. Is it was one of the first times I was just out of my mind high. And back then, no paranoia or anything. Just feeling great. I mean, I was scared that I was getting arrested.
Yeah.
But it was still funny.
That's back when pot had seeds in it too.
Yeah.
But so this has a 74 on Metacritic. That's pretty solid.
That's solid, yeah. I like it controversial.
I'm surprised this has a higher score than in Bruges.
I am too. I was just going to say something like this that is kind of more polarizing.
Yeah, and
it could even go down to the 50s when I think it deserves to be in maybe 80s, 90s.
Maybe it's because Tarantino and Oliver Stone have such clout with people that they get a better score.
Well, these are all based on critic reviews.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then I bet you if we check on 7 Psychopaths and 3 Billboards, I'm suspicious to see if that scores up higher now that he's directed more movies.
Well, we can check 7. Well, it's 3 Billboards. I think it's going to get higher than any.
But Natural Born Killers, have you rewatched In Bruges lately, or?
I think the last time I watched it was with you.
Okay, that was the first time
you
I
watched
saw
it,
it.
right?
And I laughed a lot in it, and the movie, I thought it was shot beautifully. All the scenes were awesome. The actors were awesome. And I wasn't a huge fan of Colin Farrell going into that.
Yeah.
And our one buddy, Marcus, refuses to see it just because of Colin Farrell, which is a huge mistake if you ask me.
Oh, yeah. Colin Farrell, he's solid in 7 Psychopaths.
He's really
too.
funny.
I went to the wrong place to find that score.
And then Natural Born Killers came out in '94, and whenever I rewatch that and or listen to the soundtrack, it holds up pretty good for me.
Yeah, the soundtrack's awesome. That's Trent Reznor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember the sound in Bruges being fine, but nothing like Natural Born Killers. That's 3 Billboards. I'm sorry, it took me a while. I went to the fucked up here, but 88 on Metacritic, which that's about where I would think it should be. But I think In Bruges should be higher. But 88's a really damn high score. Anything else you want to add to your 10th? What we'll do is we'll go over each movie because I don't want to bore you with the lengthy time it would take to go through each of ours in one video here. Anything else you want to add about either film?
No, so next time we'll be back with our number 9.
Number 9. Yep, number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9. You've heard that, haven't you? Revolution. All right. See you later.